Skiing and snowboarding and touring are some of the best ways to enjoy winter, but if you've ever spent a long day shredding, you've probably noticed snow building up the top of your skis or boards. It sticks to the top sheet, gets heavier and heavier, making every movement harder. Frustrating, right? So how do we stop this? Let's find out. To tackle this problem, we first need to understand why it happens. The top of skis and boards aren't perfectly flat, and if they're warm, even slightly, snow will melt on contact and leave a thin layer of water. As the day goes on, the skis cool down or wind blows over them, that water will freeze, creating a surface for even more snow to stick onto. This happens even more when temperatures hover around freezing, where the snow is wet and heavy. Another culprit is the texture of your top sheets. Some textures are more trap snow more than others. These ones are rough, versus these ones being completely smooth. This makes the problem sometimes even worse. So, how do we fix this problem? A quick Google search led me to the promising product from Mountain Flow claiming to solve this problem, but unfortunately, this product is completely out of stock, out everywhere. I came across the Board Archives video using the products called Never Wet. It seemed like a very solid solution, but there were some issues again. The original product is discontinued, and while there is a similar product, reviews were mixed about the longevity of the product and how it can discolor your skis. This was enough to make me hesitant about trying online gear. Clearly, it's time to experiment on my own. The experiment. To properly test different solutions, I've set a few standards. First is ease of application. It has to be able to be applied the day before ski day and last that overnight period, allowing for us to not have to worry about putting it on as we get to the mountain or having to get to the mountain early, we're keeping our stuff dry and all of that. Second, it has to be non-messy and aesthetically pleasing. It shouldn't leave residue on fabrics or discolor the skis at all. It also shouldn't make anything greasy or make it so that I don't want to touch my skis. Finally, it must be removable. It must come off with an easy cleaning and not damage the skis in any permanent way. The testing is going to take place in Mount Hood Meadows on December 17th, 2024. The forecast calls for a high of 32 and a low of 28, with steady snowfall all day and also tons of power before. Perfect conditions for this experiment. What is being tested? After research, I narrowed it down to these few contenders. First is Rain-X, hydrophobic coating for car windshields that repels water. Second, we have is Goggle Wax. It's designed to help water bead off of goggles, and it might be able to work for your ski tops. Then with Nikwax TX Direct, it is a spray coating meant for waterproofing clothing and other gear. Then we have the Nikwax Tent and Gear Solar Proofer, which is meant for tent and also other gear. I think this one will do great. Then we have some fine polished car wax, which might help fill in the skis and make them extra smooth, reducing sticking. Then we have Pledge Furniture Polish, a budget-friendly option that may be used to create a super slippery coating. Then we have WD-40, which stands for Water Displacement 40, so maybe it's going to work here too. And then sunscreen, which has been recommended on the internet quite a few times as a great potential fix. I will be testing the skis as in both warm and cold conditions, where the first time for warm, we'll be taking them out of the car. They'll be at the same temperature as the air in the car. And then also cold, I'll let them sit outside for a few hours to cool down to the temperature of ambient so that they don't have any opportunity to be warm enough to end up melting water. Before each of these, I'll make sure that they've been wiped down gently so that they have no moisture on them, so there was no impact on the test to start. Before the application of each of these products, what I'll be doing is going through and cleaning off the whole entire skis with a microfiber towel and isopropyl alcohol to get off dirt, grease, moisture, and make sure that we have a good, clean control surface to apply this to. When we go and apply these, I'm going to be using the manufacturer recommended instructions where applicable, or for products like WD-40, spraying under rag, spraying over the section, and going with that. For application, we'll be using the sections of the skis that are going to be evenly spaced out. The front section up here is going to be untreated. Left is our control to see how well it sticks or how well the snows are sticking in general to the skis. And then we're going to be using a few inch sections as we do in the skis, both skis, to see which one works best. We're going to have a lot of variety in tests, and there's going to be a lot of data coming out of that, but I'm excited to see what happens. So let's get started. Before applying anything to the skis, I clean the skis thoroughly with isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber cloth to remove any dirt and moisture. Then I taped off segments of the skis and labeled each section for easy tracking. I applied the products in a few sections to my atomic bent 110s, following the manufacturer's instructions, and the front of each ski was left untreated as a control for comparison. For the applications, we're going to be also testing hot or cold. So the hot section is going to be, we take it out of the car where it's nice and warm, and go on the mountain and try them out. The cold is going to be going and leaving them outside for a few hours, seeing how they warm up or seeing how they cool down, and seeing once we get on the mountain, that affects how much snow melts and sticks onto them and all of that throughout the day. There's mixed reviews on the internet, some recommending it being hot, some recommending it being cold, so that's why I figured we should test both. It's not going to be super timed on how long it takes you from the car to the mountain, but the goal is going to be to take them from a warm car and get to the mountain at a relatively quick pace with around 15 minutes of time in between leaving the car and getting to the mountain, which is not enough to fully cool down. For cool down, we're going to leave them for an hour in the ambient in the parking lot and see if that helps, which would be equivalent to like leaving them in a roof box or just leaving them out on a rack outside or something similar to that. Before each of those experiments too, we'll be drying them off completely to make sure that there's nothing residual that's warm or water on it that'll then freeze and mess up our controls. That'll be done with a magnifier cloth on the mountain. We'll go over that again. Thank you. Okay, now that we've applied all of the chemicals and products to the skis, I want to go over how it went and any changes and things I noticed. First off, I want to say that we used the Cap Crap goggle wax instead of the Z Clear lens cleaner that I had. It's just I had this open versus the other one hadn't used that, so I picked that one. Used that, went on great. As for the Rain-X, I ended up finding the Rain-X original instead of cleaner, and ended up using that instead. Went on pretty easily. We did it above 40 degrees. There's no time requirements, but I think it went out pretty well. For WD-40, we sprayed it on, but did not end up actually wiping it off because it recommends that you leave it on for best protection. As for the solar wash, we ended up leaving it on for the 2 minutes it recommends, and then remove the surplus with a damp cloth. For this section of the TX Direct, did the exact same thing. For 11 Pledge, it went on nice and easy. It's very smooth. I have very good hope in that. Sunscreen also went on very easy and smooth. No issues there. As for the polish, I frankly probably wouldn't do this again. Obviously, I was worried about damaging my skis, but I put it on, rubbed it around, covered the whole area, and then wiped it off with a towel. And I think that went pretty well overall. Yeah, the main note is really WD-40, don't wipe it off, and then Rain-X, swapped out the product, and then the polish, don't press too hard because it will potentially ruin your ski tops, so maybe would not recommend that in the future if you were to try this yourself. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some water from a bottle. We're going to pour it on top and see what happens, see if it has any different effects compared to the control versus here or there, and go from there. Yeah. So we have some water here. What we're going to do is we're going to test out how it affects the control section versus some other sections. I am going to go through and not use too much because I don't want to wipe off any coatings, but control, you can see here, pour it on, puddles up pretty nicely. Doesn't actually stay spread out, but it does kind of stick. You can see, especially right here, how the water will spread out greatly when pulled, which is not what we want. We want the water to bead back up and roll off the skis. So we'll do another puddle up here. You can see how quickly it rolls off, and even quicker rolls off on that one. And that's exactly what we want. We see the beads up just like that. We can see for this section, it did leave a bit of a trail. So maybe it's not going to be as promising with the car polish, but a lot better than control. Try up here, just a drop or two. You can see not super great, but that really beads up and slides off pretty quick. It does leave a trail, but this trail becomes beads, which is exactly what we want to see. And then we can see up here again, stays as streams. This does roll off pretty well, so I'll draw this off and give it a chance. As for the back section, we're going to try our wax treated. This doesn't look as promising. It does look like it really is just puddling up and spreading out there, which isn't great. But as we put on the waterproof coating, we can see there's beads forming there, which is a good sign as it contracts through surface tension. We'll try it on the other side. Again, puddling. We'll try it on the WD-40. Also puddling, but if we pull it around,
either staying as a bubble or moving around. Quite interesting, but what we'll do is we'll dry all these off, and I'll reapply some things like WD-40, Rain-X and all that, and see how it goes. Actually, I'll reapply all of them, and then we'll go through so we have a perfectly clean set for tomorrow, and not have to ski the control test at all, or ski the test at all, as this could very well do that. So I'll let this dry, put on a new set of all the chemicals, all the testing, and see what happens. I'll see you on the mountain. Made it out to the mountain. Currently headed up the first lift today. Skis have a little snow on them, but nothing crazy. They're warm to start. Gonna go and get a few laps and see what happens, but should be pretty good. Should get a lot of snow on them. It's pretty heavily snowing right now, which is pretty cool. Pretty excited for today in general. Yeah, gotta figure out what our next lift's gonna be. Probably the one over there. This looks to be the only other one from base open, but I have to take a break in 45 minutes to do some work. Ooh, that line looks long. So I might just spend some time over here carving in the powder, because this looks really, really nice. Or hitting the chair up over there. I'm going up a bit higher, but it's gonna be a great day. We'll see how these hang out and fare. Catch you in a second. Okay, it's time to look at our skis and see how they're doing after a few runs. So remember, our top is our control test to see how it's doing. Then we have these two top sections on our left ski, which look to be the sunscreen and the floor polish. They look to be pretty similar. We have down here what is our waterproofing spray on the bottom, and then WD-40 on the top, which looks to be doing very good in comparison. On the right side, we have pretty much all not outperforming the control test, which looks to be doing quite poorly and still having a lot of snow stick. It's a very deep powder day here, so it's prime conditions to do this. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cool these skis down and clean them off, and then come back and see how the snow sticks to them. I'll see you in a second.
Hey everyone, welcome back. And so we're back from the mountain, and unfortunately the weather did not reasonably cooperate. Once we got out there and started skiing with our cool down skis, it quite literally started raining and melted the results off our skis. While this was not the ideal testing, I still want to hold off and release this video because we did learn some key things. Don't worry though, I'll be creating a follow-up video later in the season to go over and fully explore whether cooling down our skis before hitting the slopes helps reduce snow buildup versus having them warm. So stay tuned for that. Even with these less than ideal results, we still had some great learnings. After we tested all these different products, we found two that were clear winners. The first of which is the Nikwax Tent and Gear Care spray. The second is the Ski Goggle Anti-Fog Wax. Both products performed great, keeping the snow buildup on the back right of my ski from being even comparable to the rest of my skis. But I still only recommend the Nikwax Tent and Gear Spray over the Goggle Wax for a couple of reasons. The first is cost effectiveness. While the Goggle Wax is slightly cheaper at $10 to $12 per container compared to the Nikwax's $20, the spray will simply cover way more and last significantly longer. With up to 104 square feet of spray coverage, it's going to last a lot longer than the one or two applications you'll get with this. Also, ease of application. The Nikwax spray is much quicker and more straightforward to apply. Make it a simple spray on your skis and then wipe off, versus the Goggle Wax requires rubbing it in until it's clear, which is more time consuming and also has a potential ability to get in the bindings and gum stuff up as it is a wax. The spray on the other hand is very thin, potentially won't do that, and also I have no hesitation in putting it on my skis as it's designed for fabric. There's no to be long-term discoloration, and we already know that stuff like this does come off and just be reapplied. But there's still more tests to be done, specifically durability. How long does this last under different conditions? Or also application techniques. Should I apply this day of? Should I apply this day before, week before? Should I have it dry out extra? Should I leave it on the skis before I wipe it off? There's lots of big questions there. Also, how does it perform on different parts of the skis? Does it perform great on tips or only great in the backs? So I want to figure that out, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up video later this season to dive deeper into these topics and questions, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you for watching. I really do hope that you learned something from this video and found it helpful. If you did learn something, please don't forget to hit the like button or leave a comment about what you learned. I really appreciate those feedback. Let me know if I also missed anything or if there's anything I should have tested that I didn't. I always love to get feedback and hear your suggestions on what I should do, what I should not do, and how I can improve. I'm excited to keep creating videos like this. So this is the kind of content you will enjoy. Subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more to come. But until next time, happy skiing.